Hey guys, what's up? It's KlaireeBerry, and I'm here today to talk with you guys a little bit more about the kind of continuation of this program. I think when I left you guys off last time, we were talking about the levels of trauma. If you're just coming up on this video and you didn't happen to, you're not actually watching the program, then definitely go to my playlist and check out the program. If it's not there, I've probably removed it, and you can find out how to get it at KlaireeBerry.com, okay? Because I've worked very hard on this, and, we're going to try to make this a lifestyle. Like we're making everything a lifestyle here. I will explain that. You will get that reference at the end. But basically, I just want to talk a little bit. Got all these tarot cards out. Put these away a little bit here. But I wanted to talk, like I said, we were talking about the levels of trauma, how it's just, it gets really deep sometimes. And you come to this point where you're just using your instinct to figure it all out. You may be using shadow work, you may be using inner child healing, you may be using some kind of combination of both, and that is perfectly okay. And I do apologize about the last video cutting out, but I thought it'd be weird if I tried to put it together with a different video from another day. So, it just depends on the situation, on what kind of healing you're doing, if it's going to be straightforward or not. And I've had it both ways. Most of the time, I feel like, for me at least, it's been pretty straightforward. So up until this point, up until this week. So I want to share with you my story a little bit. And I just want to talk about these situations where, like, if you get stuck, like you're doing the work, like if you're stuck and you're not doing the work, then that's obviously why you're stuck. It's because you're not doing the work. Whether you're stuck with your partner, your mission, yourself, whatever. But if you're stuck and you're actually doing the work, like I've come to these points, like I said, most of the time it's just real straightforward. Boom, boom, boom. Wow, powerful. This is amazing. I can't believe this actually worked. And wow, and then you'll revisit it, you'll come, and then it'll like slowly, gradually just go away, and you'll feel like healed. It's amazing. That's how it should be. But it's not always that straightforward. Okay. So we're going to talk in this video kind of about those times. Okay. So let's see. We kind of talked, we've obviously been through the whole thing with the inner child healing work and how we're getting down to it. And you're basically taking the trauma, you're going back, revisiting it, and you're saying, okay, this child or this young adult or this teenager or this adult, whatever, whoever it is, they went through this trauma or, shenanigans or however you want to label it. Everybody has their own choices and labels. You say, what did they need at the time of this? And we're going to figure out a way to get it to them. Whether you're imagining your mother comforting you, giving you what you need, your father, your uncle, Jesus, yourself. I find for a lot of people, and for me, myself actually tends to work the best in some ways. Okay. And again, I'll talk about that, I think, here in a minute too. It's just giving yourself what you needed in your imagination, because really, when it comes down to it, our feelings are all inside of us. I mean, are they really even real? Yeah, they're real, but are they real? Are they real enough to be manipulated with our imagination? Is everything real enough to be manipulated with our imagination? I don't know. I'm not Einstein, but he had a lot to say about imagination, so I wouldn't even freaking doubt it. But anyway, to stay on track here, again, you visualize, you feel the feeling of this person, whoever it is, again, coming in, consoling you, telling you it's going to be okay, telling you they love you, they're going to be with you forever, no matter what is happening. They are basically, it's kind of like this. It seems kind of hokey. Oh, you're going back and like changing reality and remembering it in a different way. And it's just weird. It's kind of crazy and cuckoo and imagination, station, whatever. But really, I mean, you're just changing your memory. You're just changing your perception, and you're sliding in a little positive feeling there instead of that horribly negative one. So who could argue with that? Why would you not want to do that? And it helps on so many levels. I can tell you, it does work. Okay. But like I said, sometimes you'll be like sitting there like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, why is this not working? Like, you can't figure out who should come in and help you. And, you know, sometimes I'll get this weird, like, it's like, since I do it with myself and it's myself comforting my inner child, I will perceive it from myself. And I found that was kind of a block. Like, I'm like, no, I don't want to be feeling myself like consoling somebody else. Like, I've done that a million times. That's not helpful to me as much. So I like had to like consciously say, wait, separate. This is, and what I did was I gave myself a name. Now it's really craziness, right? So I went through these names. What can I call myself? This is really going to be maybe a new persona. This might be my grandma name for all I know. Like when my kids end up having kids. I don't know. But I decided on Mama C. Okay. Because what I actually, you know, weeks ago and already figured out that what I preferred to call my inner child was baby girl. Okay. So baby girl, you know, it's okay, baby girl. Like, I love you, baby girl. Like, you're going to be okay, baby girl. You're just a little baby girl. Like, I relate to you. I validate you. I'm here for you. Everything we need, we can give to ourselves. We can. We're that powerful. We can do it. So just try it if you haven't tried it. If you have tried it, leave me a comment down below and let me know how it affected you. That would like make my year to hear these stories start to come in about people getting healed from this program. Like, that is my whole entire goal in life. Okay. So anyway, like I said, I think it's powerful. I think it works. And it doesn't matter kind of who you're using to come in for you. And you can switch it up. Certain situations may be different people. I don't know. Could be somebody completely made up. Like, as long as it resonates with you, that's all that you need to know, okay? Just as long as they're giving you what you needed at that time. But see, here's the other thing is sometimes you won't know what you needed, okay? So that's an issue, okay? And also, I want to say, you know, we don't just do this one time, okay? I think I've mentioned this before in a lot of other videos, hopefully in the program, but it's like you give yourself what you needed and then you make that your mantra. You make that your lifestyle. Okay. You don't just give your little inner child what they needed that one time and then forget about it. Like for intensive trauma, yeah, you should at least do it for a few days to a week or something at least. And even then I would say extract. I mean, that's kind of going in and getting into that hardcore place of, you know, this is how I was feeling and this is how I'm healing myself. This is how whoever's helping me get through this, yada, yada, yada. Okay. But again, for these deeper things, you know, you may really want to carry with you because it didn't take you a week a lot of times to get this trauma, and you've had this trauma and you've had these things for so long. It might take a little bit more. So you want to take those words that, you know, your mom, dad, uncle, self, Jesus, whatever is telling yourself. Take those words and make those your mantras and look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself those things. And you won't even you get to the point where you can just touch base and tap into those positive things rather than having to feel the whole effects of the trauma again because you're familiarized with it, okay? I hear a lot of people say, oh, you know, don't do too much shadow work. Like, yeah, I suppose you could get caught up in it because it can be, you know, it can be draining. It can make you like emotional. And so that's why I always say, like, build yourself up, you know, so much and make sure and follow through with this side of it because that's what that is. It's like building you up and healing you back up. But yeah, it will be raw. It might be raw for a little bit, but you carry it with you. You do it as a lifestyle. You keep doing that shadow work. You keep on building yourself up. That's really all I can say. And you'll know when it's time, you know, when you can stop doing it, you know, you'll know, like, because when you start to revisit it, you won't cry, you know, you won't have as much pain. And then it'll be like, oh, you know, we'll get there. And, you know, I would still recommend coming back and checking in later for sure. And definitely carrying those mantras, you know, having at least, you know, I don't know if it's going to be once a week for you or once a month or whatever, maybe even once a year when you get to a certain point. But it's really like those mantras should be revisited, you know, just to check in, you know, make sure some negative mantras aren't popping up and taking over. But so, yeah, it's a way of life, especially if it's deeper and especially if it's not so clear cut as far as how you're able to heal this. Okay. And so that's what I'm going to kind of talk about now with my particular story. I had done, like I said, and I've talked about this before. I had an initial trauma when I was from 2 to 4 years old. So it was kind of a long-term trauma for me at a very young age. So very foundational. It sucked, basically. So I had to get myself out of it. Okay, I had to draw the line and cut the cord. And after that, there was a neglect that happened. Okay, I'm not going to get into details, but it was this neglect after this whole extended initial trauma that I had. And it was directly related to decisions that I had made regarding, you know, the trauma. So it was very difficult for me. And this is why when I first went back, I mean, like I've done inner child healing years ago where, oh yeah, like I went through the motions and I went through it on a more mental level and I thought I was healed. I'm like, oh, I can handle this way better than I ever could before. I must be healed. I'm not crying thinking about it. Now I'm healed. So no. So fast forward years and years and years, maybe half a decade or more. I don't even remember when that was. It was probably 12 years ago, you know, something like that. I don't know. So I decide to learn more about all this stuff, get back into it, and, you know, bam. Here I find myself doing inner child healing on an emotional level after kind of acting, you know, oh, I don't need to do that, right? Okay, so I do it. It's fine. I go through it. Everything's like working exactly as it should, and it's fine, okay? So then I'm sure that this particular trauma is tidied up, taken care of, right? Weeks later, again, I realize that it's not so simple. Again, like I explained, I had not only secondarily and third and fourth and fifth and whatever traumatized my own self by the damage that was done, you know, from this initial trauma or whatever. But there was also, like I said, this period, this after effect right after. So my trauma had a beginning, middle, all these years, you know, and then an end. Then it had a post effect. And then I basically buried it until I was an adolescent. And then it resurfaced. And at that point, I was not believed when I tried to talk about it. And then I had numerous other self-inflicted traumas because it was not dealt with. Okay, so that's what I usually would refer to as secondary traumas. But I'm going back to this right after it happened, which I did not even realize was the thing. I mean, I was already just putting all of this other stuff together, and it's like, oh, I finally understand myself. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, wow, I thought, you know, on so many levels. Like I said, the first time it was mental. And then I got into it, it was just that initial trauma. And then when I kept on doing it, it was all these actually skip ahead subsequent traumas. And then I realized there's this whole other aspect from right after it all ended. And so I had to do it again. And you can imagine how difficult this has been for me, you know, over these past few weeks and stuff to kind of have to revisit this. But it's so freaking worth it. I cannot tell you how worth it is. It's like a little bit of tears, a little bit of, emotional inner stuff. So worth it to keep yourself from real, actual, you know, these consecutive traumas could keep on happening. These, you know, it's, you never know. There's no end until you deal with it. So, like I said, this neglect after this initial trauma, I didn't remember, obviously. I mean, I blocked it all out. So, and the thing was, there's no actual pinpointed event, which is why it's so difficult to heal. Okay? It's so difficult to figure out what did I need, because there wasn't like, oh, you know, this was an event where I was so sad at this one time. I mean, I feel like there was maybe a time or two or three or whatever, you know, that came up where it came to a head, where I was really upset about it. But I cannot say that. Sorry. I kind of forgot what I was saying there too. I can't say that it didn't. I can't pinpoint any particular time where I needed any one thing, basically. So for me to come in and say, Mom, Dad, Uncle, Jesus, self, etc., which again, I usually do self, I'm like, what can I do? And I was trying, you know, I'm like going through these practices, you know, and I'm trying. I'm sitting there like literally looking like an idiot, you know, in the bathroom, like doing everything that I do. And, you know, it's so funny because I go through the love languages. This is why I did a love language video earlier on it, is to figure out, like, help you figure out what you need. Especially for these times when it may not be so clear, you know? And I just couldn't figure it out because I couldn't remember a time that I had felt that pain because I had blocked it out. I didn't know. Sorry. I didn't know what I needed because I didn't know. I didn't know what was happening. It's funny because I knew it was going to happen. Okay, if you do this, this is going to, like I was basically told, you know, if you do this, like, this is going to happen. And I had to, you know, as a little child, I had to make that choice anyways. And I'm so sorry. It was just really hard to figure it out. And I had to really focus on this and think, and it really helped me to get deeper into this, and it helped me to talk out loud, and it helped me in a way to, instead of like picturing like I was there, because I'm like, where do I go? The effects of this neglect was not, oh, just Saturday morning, you know, when you want somebody to watch cartoons. It wasn't just in your deepest moments of trauma where you need somebody to comfort you and help you and tell you everything is going to be okay. It's like all of those things. Where do you start, you know? So, at first I was, you know, bouncing back and forth. Do I do this? You know, and it helped me so much even to just go through all of this and say like, okay, yeah, like, you know, this is why I love board games. Like, I just needed, you know, I just wanted somebody to play board games. I just wanted somebody to be there. You know, there's nobody there. And I couldn't, like, talk to anybody about my feelings, you know? I really couldn't. I couldn't even, you know? There was nobody there. I was, like, so alone. It's like, where do you start to comfort a child that just needed somebody there, like, all the time, you know? That just needed a friend, like, just to be there, you know? Like, how do you tell yourself that? It's not just like, oh, I can visualize you comforting, saying everything's good, and of course I'm trying to, saying over and over, like, I'll be there for you, I'm here, I'm always trying to say it in the positive, like, I'm here for you, I will always be here. But then and it's funny, because on some level, your mind is like, okay, come on, like, you're talking to yourself, you're a fucking idiot, like, this isn't gonna work, you know? But it does, it really does. And, you know, you may have to keep on visiting it, it may have to be over time, but I felt a big breakthrough today whenever I was just able to, like, open up and, kind of talk through it rather than just visualize it. And again, this is going to be like, that side is going to be different for whoever you are. And, you know, I was kind of surprised because I'm more of a feeler, so I figured feeling it would be, but I had to talk through it. And it kind of got like this interview, which I've talked about in the past on different law of attraction videos. If you go to my law of attraction playlist and go way back, you'll see these videos where I'm like talking about this interview, you know, like, you're talking about what's happening. When you talk about it, you ever notice, like, when you talk to your friends about something, or you're having a discussion with your, like, significant other, and you're, like, really into, like, working shit out, and you're just like, well, I haven't even thought about this. I haven't even verbalized this in my own head before, but here it is. We're going to spit it out right now because I'm just learning this as I'm saying it to you at the same time. It's kind of like that. You kind of sort things out, and you can, you know, as you're working them out, it helps in a way to kind of organize your thoughts. Excuse me. So here I am in the car going to the movies, talking to myself, crying, of course, and trying to figure out how to comfort myself. And it's like, I literally just had to tell myself this new narrative and tell myself, and that's why I had to really give it a name. I had to remember, okay, baby girl, you know, and this time, you know, sometimes you can look at it from baby girl perspective, and sometimes you can look at it from Mama C. You know, I was like, what do I want to be called? You know, I went through all these names, KlaireeBerry, all this stuff, KB, like whatever. Mama C, okay. MC for short. And it's like, I wanted to really get, like I said, I was having an issue with feeling like the adult, and I didn't want to just be the comforter. I wanted to be comforted. So that's why I had to, and my imagination wasn't cutting it at that point. So I had to flip the switch. That's why I had to get verbal, get into the story a little bit more, and say, and talk about Mama C as if I'm no longer her. So I'm talking to myself. I know I seem so crazy, but it works, okay? I am baby girl talking, telling the story. You know, it's like back to when we first started shadow work, and you ask yourself, you know, hey, how was your childhood? It's like that. But this time, when you go back, instead of telling this sad, you know, what's the word? Not condescending, just really, you know, like sarcastic, like, I can't think of the word right now, but just this story, you know, where you're being very candid and you're just like telling the story, you know, in all the negative ways that you have been carrying around. It's like, well, this is the story. You're not necessarily, I wasn't necessarily telling it, like I said, from the, it was kind of like baby girl had grown up, but because, like I said, I just couldn't put a pinpoint on, oh, the video games or the movies, and, you know, let's do, Mama C did my hair, and, you know, she comforted me so much. And I had to take it to that level where I took it to a story. I took it to this remembrance. And so I'm sitting there telling myself this story. Mama C was there for me. You know, she was there. She was the only one that was there. You know, she did all these things. She took care of me physically, like right after, and then she said she was going to be there, and then she was there, and then she stayed with me, and I'm just like, literally, it's like, I don't know what I would do without this person. And that's when those doubts come in. You're like, well, Claire, wait a second. Like, your reality was that you didn't have this. Like, wake up, you know, what are you doing? What are you talking about? You just push that voice out. And it seems so dumb on some levels, but I can tell you already, and this just all happened tonight. This is my first time getting in this deep. And it's already really helped. I actually, even just while watching the movie, I actually noticed myself. I can't remember exactly what it was about, but I noticed myself thinking about something. And I probably normally would have been like, oh yeah, like lonely life or whatever, like just mentality, you know. It's like, we have these thoughts. I always talk about this in my videos. We have these thoughts that pop up that we don't even know where they came from, but that's how we see things. That's how we believe things. That's what we expect. And I totally caught myself. But instead of this old story that I would have told myself, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or nobody's there, you know, like, it was really deep too, because you guys, I always tell this story about how all my best friends had left. All my best friends. Like, if I had a best friend, they would eventually move away. Like, all of them. Happened like every other year. Like, up till like 7th grade or more. Then I just stopped having friends. No, not really, but kind of. But it's like, it's just so crazy when you get to that point. You're like, oh, my whole life, you know, I really am who I am because of this trauma, and I can't deny that anymore. And it's great to get in and deal with it, even though it's painful and you feel like an idiot when you're doing it, and people are probably looking at you in the next car and like whatever. I don't recommend doing it in the car, but I always tend to be on the go, like either on the street or walking in the car or whatever. But like I said, I'm just like pulling it all together, you know. Like I said, I couldn't pinpoint any one situation where I needed myself, but I needed myself over time. And that was part of the reason, you know, it was so difficult to even figure out, to find out not only, you know, what I needed, but where this trauma had come from, because it was so gradual. It was so prolonged, So here I am, literally crying as I'm telling myself this new story. And I felt kind of stupid, but I just kept going, and it really resonated. And like I said, in the movie, I literally had this thought where, I actually had it a couple times, where it's like, yeah, like, I'm so lucky. I literally can feel the effects of my great childhood, because I had Mama C to help me, to be there for me. We had, and it's funny because a lot of it was like, I boiled it down to like, that special bond that I was just never able to form with people. Like, I never, had people do my hair, like braid my hair. I never had really done like friendship bracelets with people. And I never had a lot of inside jokes with people either. And these were things that just bugged me growing up. Like, I knew, like, I didn't know why, I didn't know what. I just was always like kind of jealous of people, who had these inside jokes, And like, if I had friends over, like, I wouldn't want them to leave, and it's like, now I know exactly why I was the way that I was. And that is so fucking freeing. It's so amazing. It's worth every tear you will cry to figure your fucking self out. And again, this is cheaper than any kind of therapy. Actually, it's free right now. So yeah. But I just wanted to share this with you tonight. Partially for therapy for myself, of course, but also to just let you guys know that, again, kind of a continuation of the last video, like, it's not going to be straightforward. It can be a mixture. You can find your own way to do it. This is just to get you started. Every situation might be different. Every trauma is going to have different elements to it. And people can say, well, this is the one way to do it. But really, there are numerous ways, and everybody has their own version of what's going to, end up working best for themselves. But I also just really wanted to share this discussion piece of it, because in the beginning, I always talk to myself, but there wasn't as much talking through it as much. It was more like this feeling. And this time I just had to get it out. I just had to change it. And I had to, again, tell myself this story. And like I said, it's already, because I've grasped onto it emotionally, it's already part of my narrative. I'm already noticing the effects, literally. Just like in, like I said, movie or whatever, And I even had this instance where I kind of like almost like looked over a little bit, and it's just like over here, the chair was empty next to me. I'm just like, oh, like, Mama C's here, like, you carry it with you. Like, it sounds, again, so dumb, but it's a lifestyle, and it's, it can really be a struggle. And you may go through cycles with it, but just work it out, just figure out exactly what you need. Like, you can figure it out. And even if it's non-conventional, or even if it's not easy, you can figure it out. And if it's something like over time like that, then pull back. And, again, like I said, I was trying to, comfort myself after it happened. Then I'm like, well, I don't even know. Did I even have a recognizing period, where I needed to be comforted after this happened? Or was it just kind of this emptiness, that lasted? And it's like, when you kind of step back, you can see the pieces. And so then you can put them together a little bit more. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. I just really loved, as I was doing it, it felt so good. Even though I'm sitting there crying, it just felt so good to be able to say, yeah, like, and it just helped, like, naming the two, naming myself, giving a name to my inner child, and a name to my, myself now, the comforter. Like, I felt like that was really productive, spanning it out and being able to have that dialogue to tell the story of my childhood in a whole different way. Again, it's not just one instance, one feeling. It's like, if I didn't have this, she did this for me, she did that. It's like, she didn't just do one thing, or, a number of things in a certain instance. She was here, forever. And it's like, the extension of that is not just like, oh, I was comforted by her words and her presence and her physical touch and the, like, I literally, like, it's like, why do I love comfort foods? This is why, like, I wanted somebody to bring me whether it's like soup or ice cream or something creamy and warm, like, this is why, this is me, you know, this is like all of my likes and everything. It's like, that's what it is. Like, she brought me that stuff. She literally took care of me when nobody else did. And I'm telling myself all of this, and it's coming together, you know, as I'm letting it out. And it's my reality now. And so when I literally, something made me think about my childhood in that movie, and I was just like, huh. And I literally thought of Mama C, and I was like, literally, thank God for her. And again, I know it sounds so crazy. I know it does. But if you've tried it, then you know. Again, sometimes it takes some maneuvering. This is like feeling around, you know, in the dark. Like, what do we do? Because we don't know. We block a lot of this stuff out. We don't know how it affects us. We really don't. So, like I said, if you need any direct coaching, I have a direct coaching, unlimited coaching club, lifetime unlimited coaching club. I have direct readings, direct consultations, very low prices on everything. So you can always get the most up-to-date pricings at KlaireeBerry.com. I know this program is going to be wrapping up soon. I'm not sure if this is going to be the last video or not. So if it is, thank you so much for being here. This is like a lifelong dream, and I'm so happy to be able to give back, even if it's just one person. So please let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down, you know, if this affects you, comments, etc. Stay subbed. Hit the bell so you're subscribed and getting the notifications. Find me all over social media as KlaireeBerry, and I will talk to you guys really soon. Much love, many blessings. You are wonderful. You are amazing. You are so brave. You are so strong, and you're a leader. You really are. You are a leader, and you're going to help people by helping yourself. That's what we're here for. So, again, loves, peace. Talk to you soon.